thank you all so much for being here. And I was listening in the wings, and it seems that there's some animal lovers in the house. Yes? Woo! All right, if you're a dog lover, say dog. Dog. Cat lover?
Cat.
Woo! Horses? Horses. Birds? Snakes?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, all right, I love it. Oh, my goodness. Oh, thank you for coming today. And thank you for loving animals. One of my friends says that animals are angels on loan to us. And I think that's true. And in fact, in my work, I've been doing this since '93 professionally. They're angels. They're guides, they're healers, they're teachers. And what we don't know is how incredibly intelligent they really are. You know, they say that humans are spiritual beings having a human experience, right? We're in a human body. And I believe that's true of animals as well. Animals are spiritual beings having an animal experience. So if you think of your intelligence and how you feel and you think and how you reason and process and you experience life, they do too, in their own way. In their own way. I love animals. I've loved them since I was little. And right now, I'm really delighted because I get to help people all around the world who are struggling with their pets, who don't understand each other. They are in conflict. We've got one of my specialties is solving problems with pets. So behavior and health and performance with show horses, which is actually how I got started way back when. But what I want you to know today is that animals are smarter than you think. They listen to you, they feel you, they know who you are. They get you at a very deep level. Yeah? They're heroes. Have you heard stories about the little dog that the cobra was going after the child, and this little dog ran and got in front of him and it attacked the cobra and it fought with him until the child could get away to safety? Did you see that? Yeah. Oh my God. And then there was this picture of it, you know, the dead snake, and the dog is sitting there with this smile on its face, dying, because it had been bitten so many times by the cobra. You know, that was its life's mission. It was the angel in that moment for that child, right? So they touched my heart. You know, one of the reasons I want to be on this stage is to tell people, wake up, animals are intelligent, they're sentient, they feel, they know more than you do, right? All you have to do is communicate with them, and guess what? They communicate. Did you know they communicate? You're shaking your head. Have you heard an animal speak to you? Have you felt a message? Yes, all the time, right? All the time. It's we humans that are so dense that we're not open and connected, you know? We're not like, we're like this talking head in our society, and we don't even feel, we don't even know what we're feeling in our body. We don't know what we're doing with our energy, you know? And animals look at us and they go, oh my God, I'm so worried about my person. Because they're like clueless. And so there's a phenomenon I call the human-animal body-mind connection. And it's a really interesting, it's where animals mirror us. They mirror us. They act out our stress, our wounds. They carry our illnesses, our sickness. I learned about this from one of my dear friends and colleagues. She's a best-selling author, Susan Chernick-McElroy. She wrote a book called Animals as Teachers and Healers. And from her own story, her dog, I think it was a golden, wound up with a very rare cancer. And the dog taught her how to survive cancer, how to go through this. And she learned so much by being with her dog through this experience. Her dog died. And then they discovered that she had the exact same cancer. And she knew from what she'd gone through with her dog how to do this. It's like, oh my God, it's not a, you know, I don't know if I'll die or not, but I have courage. I'm going to step in. I'm going to step up, you know, and I'm going to face this because my dog taught me how to step up and show up. And she survived her cancer. So her dog was her angel, right? So there are something like, if I can remember my notes, something like 7.2 million animals. I think it translates to 27,000 animals every day that wind up at the shelter. 27,000 lives every day of intelligent, sentient, feeling, wise ones who are misunderstood. Nobody ever communicated with them. They were acting out and trying to help their person, right, by saying, you know, you have a stress here, you have a wound here, you're sick here, you're here, let me show it to you so maybe you'll get it. Maybe you can take action. You know, they'll come to you and they'll go, right here, Mom, right here, right here, right here, right here. Right here. Have you ever had an animal come to you and like point to this area in your body? Thank you for sharing. Yeah, they do. They can smell illness inside our body. Sometimes they're the ones that say, get to the doctor quick, right? There's something wrong here. Or they get sick first. To me, it's really tragic to see all those animals lose their lives. And that's not counting the ones that are abused and lost and tossed out of cars, you know, and just like abandoned, just dumped, right? So once upon a time, there was a horse named Datiza. She was an Arabian, a beautiful, beautiful Arabian mare who was with people who did not understand her and never took time to communicate with her. And she was highly opinionated, a bit aggressive. She had an attitude. This horse had an attitude. Imagine that. She wound up being abused. She almost lost her life. She was in very bad shape, and she wound up at a horse rescue facility in upstate New York with one of my colleagues. Her name was Dawn. And Dawn is a communicator. And so Dawn is talking to Datiza and she's wanting her story. It's like, so how did you get here? What's going on with you? Why are you so aggressive? Why are you so dangerous? You know, how can we help you? Because this isn't going to work here if you hurt us or hurt the other, you know, animals here. And Datiza said, I am a wise one. I have never been respected or acknowledged. I know how to heal people. And they went, what? And she said, yeah, for instance, and she told Dawn something about her own health. And she said, you know, here's what you do to feel better. Wow, okay. And so the word started getting out, and some of the volunteers are working with her. They're like, oh my God, this horse knows, the advice she told me was right on. How did she know? Do y'all remember Edgar Casey? Anybody remember Edgar Casey? Datiza had the gift of Edgar Casey. She became famous. People would go to her and ask her for advice. I mean, our doctor in the audience here, it's like they would go to her and she would be translated, of course, communicate. And she would say, you know, you have a problem with your pancreas and you have a problem with your you know, your kidney or, you know, whatever, and then take these herbs, do whatever it is you had to do. And they would do that and they would feel better. Extraordinary. Who knew? Right? The people who had Datiza before and they're abusing her. Who knew that who they had in their life, you know? Wow. So I want to challenge you today, and maybe not a challenge, but I want to invite you to consider, who are animals really? Who are they really? You know, at this point, you know, I have a mission, I have a vision. My vision is a world where everyone can communicate with animals, where we all understand each other. I think when we do that, the world will be a better place for all of us. You know? When we learn to recognize and respect and revere them for who they truly are as the master spiritual teachers that they are, they make us better people. And God knows we need to be better people, right? The best version of ourselves. So anyway, so I hope that if you don't go away with anything else today, I want you to go away with that. But there's some things animals would tell you if they could. One of them is they're intelligent. I hope you got that point. Two, they worry about you. They do. When we're not fully present and consciously aware, which most of us rarely are, they worry about us because it's not safe, right? It's not safe to not be fully present in your life right here, right now. So they'll do whatever they can to get your attention. They feel greatly. They feel emotions. They feel thoughts. They feel sadness, grief, depression. So many research studies have proven this over and over and over. Animals are super intelligent, and they do feel. They mirror you. They can mirror you. So if you're having a problem with an animal, you need to talk to them, because it may not be their problem, it may be yours that they're acting out for you, right? So find out what's going on first before you make any decisions about what to do. So let me tell you how I got started. Imagine a tow-headed little girl living in rural Texas outside Lake Austin, outside Austin, Texas. It was a really lonely only child. I didn't have any playmates, no human kids for miles and miles around. It was very, very isolated. The only friends that I really had were the animals. And I was known for being able to befriend the wild animals. You know, we had dogs, I had guinea pigs, they had, chickens, we had pigs. But my best friend was a mare named Maisie. Maisie was a good-sized chestnut mare with big black mane and black feet and black tail, and she was so near and dear to my heart. And when I started into my teenage years, I was manically depressed and I was suicidal. So after my parents would go to sleep at night, I would sneak out of the house and I would go to the barn and I would go to Maisie and I would throw my arms around her neck and I would cry into her mane. And she would look at me with those big liquid brown eyes, and she would wait patiently until the worst of it had passed. And then she would tell me, I would hear her voice, and she would say, "Child, what's wrong?" And I would tell her. And her counsel and her wisdom and her philosophies of life. Sometimes she would make me laugh. She was so funny. She had a great sense of humor. Along with a pair of lips that could open any gate, she had a great sense of humor. But she would, she'd always counsel me, and I survived my teenage years. And I attribute that in large testament to Maisie in my life. And I went on, and I went into the corporate world, and I wound up going to college. I got married, and I was not in a good marriage, and I was depressed, becoming suicidal again, and starting to look at what am I doing with my life. And I forgot I could communicate with the animals until one day my husband and I had 2 cats, and he was a professional opera singer, a tenor, and he had these giant Bose speakers, and they were using the speakers as scratching posts. Not good, really not good. So I was really worried. I'm thinking, oh my God, they're gonna lose their life, or they'll lose their home at a minimum, right? And so one morning I get up and I'm gonna do my meditation that morning, and I'm tuning in, and something just kind of downloaded to me, and it said, instead of tuning inward, does anyone meditate here? Anybody else meditate? Yeah, good, a few of you do, good. So instead of tuning inward, in fact, y'all can try this. Instead of tuning inward, tune toward the animal and see what happens as an experiment. Because I did that day, and I tuned in to the animal, and to the cats, and I saw things. Oh my God, I saw images I had no clue about. I heard voices, I felt feelings, I heard thoughts. It was so extraordinary. And so I'm going through this process, and all of a sudden it was like complete, and I'm like, wow. And I opened my eyes, and the 2 cats were like glued looking at me, both of them like. It was like, wow, and we took a big breath together. Wow. And they never used the speakers as scratching posts again. That was it. So I went on to work with Valkyrie. Valkyrie was a black Percheron mare, a black beauty of a horse. She had this huge knot in her hip. And I was out there working with her. It was a cold, kind of a rainy day in January in San Antonio, Texas, and I'm at the stable, and it's just me and her owner. And at one point, Valkyrie told me what happened to her hip. It was like, did you know that they can take you into their memories? So they can take you into their mind and they can show you what they know, what they saw, what they felt, what they experienced, what they thought. And so she did that, and it was like I was sucked into her mind and into her head. And I saw where she was. She was there. I smelled the caliche dirt. I saw the gate. I saw the horse trailer. I saw the 3 Hispanic men that were trying to load her in the horse trailer. It was really pissing her off, and how she was fighting them because she didn't want to go in there. I mean, she banged into that gate, and when she did, she banged her butt. So, and then after, I listened to the story and I'm translating it as quickly as I can. And Charlene, her owner, said, "Oh my God, I remember that incident. I remember when that happened. I know exactly what she's talking about. I'm so sorry that happened that way." And at that moment, Valkyrie felt acknowledged and heard. And she could let it go. And she took this big breath, and the knot melted out of her hip. It was gone. So, they know things you don't know. Imagine, if you will, just a real quick little exercise. Imagine you're an animal. Let's say for the dog lovers, for the cat lovers, the horses, the birds, whatever. Think of an animal and imagine that you're them. How would life be if you were that animal? How would it feel? Your viewpoint would change. Your senses would enlarge. They have much better senses than we humans. I've had animals tell me what pitiful orbs my eyes were, which I had a peregrine falcon tell me that. Thank you very much. Just imagine a world where they could communicate with us and we could communicate with them. What amazing things they could tell us. How could they help us? How could they help you? Right? How could you help them? What we have when we do that is team and partnership and an expanded sense of life and being reconnected to life, because companion animals spend their whole life trying to break through your barriers to help you evolve and heal and grow. So the next time you see an animal, remember, they're smarter than you think. You can communicate with them. So thank you for loving animals. Thank you.